All right, folks, welcome back to, what's our new name? Cinema Synergy.
Cinema Synergy.
There you go. Season 2, Episode 2, Erotic Thrillers. Once again, we are live from Brazil, craft beer.
I don't know, last year.
Craft beer last year. Thank you, Doug. We are joining us tonight on Vigo. We have Oblin Thrick.
You stop that. Stop using internet handles.
I thought I was being unmolested tonight.
You're being unmolested as long as you do it right. So,
Trav,
Ryan, Greg.
As ever, the lovely Heidi.
We have Jeff.
We have our
joining
guest
us tonight.
host for once, Jenny.
Over there.
Yeah.
We have Heidi and Jordan.
And as usual, our
couple.
AV guy running the camera, Douglas. I believe tonight's main topic of conversation is...
So tonight's main topic of conversation. So because we love to be relevant and we love to be up with the times and things that are going on, Valentine's Day is coming up. We won't be broadcasting again before Valentine's Day.
This is true.
So of course we had to pick something on topic to talk about with the holiday coming up. And what else says Valentine's Day than romantic comedies, right? Something else because I got overruled. That was my idea.
I like that idea.
No one wanted to watch and or talk about romantic comedies. Instead, we are talking about what, Jordan?
Erotic thrillers. We're talking about erotic thrillers
From the 90s.
Yes.
I will go and take blame for suggesting this idea. So direct your hatred to me.
I will keep that in mind. Quick question: what did Past Life Me do to Past Life You that made me watch these movies then? Because I was originally going to ask Jordan, but if it was your idea, I guess that just goes to you.
His idea.
Let's see. I'm pretty sure Germany sided with Denmark in Carolina Sprex's war against Denmark.
Moving on.
God damn it, Greg! Hashtag God damn it, Greg.
All right, so I did some research into this genre, which makes me sound like a huge perv. But
I totally have it now.
Makes you sound technical.
But legit, I was looking into the concept of erotic thrillers, and interestingly enough, erotic thrillers seem to mostly be a product of the 90s. Like you said, erotic thrillers in the 90s.
There's a few 80s ones.
There's a few 80s ones, there's a few 70s ones, there's even a couple of 60s ones, there's a few in the 2000s, etc. It's a genre, it's a thing.
It blew up in the mid-90s.
But for some reason, it was huge in the 90s. Specifically, the 90s.
There's a very real reason for that. Basic instinct.
There's a few very good reasons for it. I have a theory as to why this is almost a uniquely 90s thing.
Well, lay your hypothesis on us.
I will lay that hypothesis on everyone later. I want to talk about some of these movies first. Because I feel like if I give my theory away now, it'll impact the way we talk about these things, these movies. Yeah. So I want to save that for the end.
All right. The first movie was Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct.
Right.
Basic Instinct is like the
I'm going to defer to everyone
defining.
else because it's been like 15 years since I've
It's
seen
been like
this.
15 hours since I watched it.
I
It's
know
like
one
the
thing about
defining movie
The Veg.
of this genre. It's like the only reason anyone
all I
knows
knew
about
about it
that
before
movie
I
is
watched
because Sharon Stone
Veg.
moves her legs over,
Right.
and every VHS copy of that movie that shared a home with a teenage boy was worn out right there because it was on pause. And you know I'm right.
Thank you, Netflix.
Segment for them two arguing.
There's nothing to argue about. Speaking of arguing, because we do argue
really
almost
aren't gonna
every
have a
time we do
90-second
this.
debate this
Yeah,
week. It
if-
really isn't.
There's nothing to debate. Like, you're not... what's your opinion on this genre before we get into Basic Instinct?
I love it because
Because it's so bad?
it's terrible.
Okay.
It's fun. It's like nearly a challenge.
Okay, so you're
I'm
not
gonna love
defending-
it.
So, like, you're not, like,
Yeah.
all super champion in
Yeah.
90s erotic thrillers.
However, they do have strong points. Like they do. A lot of them have like a strong connection to like film noir and like the giallo, like genres, and like they kind of bleed together in like the neo noir kind of a sense. And also like when you see stuff like Color of Night, for example, when you look at like the fucking like when
Color
you
of Night offended me. I don't feel bad saying that. Color of Night offended me.
Okay, but when you look at the
But we're going to get into that one later.
right. When you look at like the lighting of it and like the camera work and like how there's like the like the reveal at the end and everything. That's very Italian horror. You know what I mean?
Noir-esque.
And like noir, there's a lot of noir going on, particularly in like Basic Instinct with like the way they did.
Are we gonna find a topic or genre of movies that you will not compare to something that came out of Italy?
Probably not.
Probably not. Unless it was something that came out of here first and then Italy copied. Like
Zombie!
Unless you actually managed to get
I
him to
said
talk
a while
about
ago
romantic
that
comedies.
this erotic thriller thing.
even then,
was
there's
cinema equivalent of a
the
literary
white
novel
telephone
stripper,
films of like the
but Jenny
1930s
was a
and
Henry
40s,
just
like
Subway.
reading it, even
Film
when I asked
Italy
her
will never
about
touch that.
right.
What?
All right, so Basic Instinct. Let's talk about that real quick.
All right.
Did anyone like it?
You know what? Basic
bad.
Instinct, out of the collection of movies that I watched, because I watched 5 of these movies since
It's
Thursday.
the best one out of them, right?
Basic,
2 of which weren't erotic thrillers. You got lied to by a list.
One. What's the other
That
one?
was the
Romeo's
Wikipedia
Bleeding?
list.
Yes. What else?
Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut is absolutely an erotic
Really?
thriller.
It's
It
not thrilling.
Kind of.
It
at
kind
all.
of is.
Filling
It
it
kind
from
of
the
is.
1920s.
True.
It fits all the tropes.
We're
Yeah.
super jaded people.
Yeah, that's
So like to
Right.
watch it now, it's not thrilling. But like,
But I did watch it when it
that's
came out. It still
absolutely
wasn't
like a
thrilling.
thriller type movie
Yeah.
because like you get this fear. We're talking
Fair
about
enough.
Basic Instinct.
It's not like
Let's talk
Basic
about Basic
Instinct where they actually have like infrasound hidden in the
Like it's not a
soundtrack,
crime
but-
thriller,
Right.
but it's definitely a thriller-esque movie.
All right.
Well,
I'll give it that. Anyway,
Basic Instinct. So first of all, Basic Instinct's opening scene fully explains a scene from Hot Shots 2 to me.
Oh,
that I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know was a thing.
So many references.
Interesting.
So-
So that was my biggest takeaway from
Such a
Basic
cultural
During,
impact.
during
Basic
that
Instinct
opening
has.
scene, the actor had blood packs taped to his chest that she was supposed to lightly stab. Sharon Stone really got into that scene. So right after they got done filming it, because all those screams are real, she was actually stabbing him through the blood
That's
packs.
fantastic.
He actually went to the hospital with like 17 stab wounds to the
I love
chest.
it.
Oh,
But he
man.
lived.
Yeah, he lived.
So,
but
because
he
they're
had
all
so the big
shallow
takeaway
wounds,
here is don't
right?
use an ice pick to
he
kill
had
somebody.
permanent
Don't-
scarring.
Right.
Like anytime an actor overcomes
Rule of
like
this
that.
movie: do not act in a movie where Sharon Stone gets to stab you.
Right. Well, like if anybody who's been in my one student film is watching this, you know that you can easily get your ass kicked in a fucking action scene.
Yeah.
I think based off our
I
viewers
really
at
feel
the
like we
moment
don't-
that is a
Wasn't even aware of such a existence of thing. So, Basic Instinct. I loved the fact that like there's so many people, and like of all of these movies too. I saw so many actors in them, like before they were big, and it was kind of cool to see. So like there's guys from Law and Order in all of these.
Yeah.
Newman from Seinfeld plays an ADA in Basic Instinct.
Does he really?
He does. It's
does.
fantastic. He talks differently when he's trying to be not a skeevy motherfucker.
Nice.
It's weird, right?
It is. It's kind of weird.
Wait, is he the weird little fat guy?
Yeah, that's Newman.
He's the weird little fat
Of course
guy.
he's the weird little.
He's also the
Oh,
weird
yeah.
little fat guy. But he's
Right.
also like the guy from Jurassic Park.
Nice.
He's
Yeah.
Newman from Seinfeld.
Okay.
He's the one who's super uncomfortable talking to Sharon Stone because he's incredibly intimidated by an
Nice.
attractive woman who's not wearing underwear.
I can relate.
Breaking my train of thought. Basic Instinct was the most entertaining erotic thriller that I watched for sure. It had
It was really well paced. It was Joe Esterhaus and Paul
fairly
Verhoeven.
well paced.
I'd say
there's a
extra.
few times during that movie where it feels like it's wrapping up, but then you check how much longer there
Right.
is on the movie, and there's like 50 minutes left. And like, oh, it's not wrapping up at all.
Which,
It's just
It's the
Steve.
thing with erotic thrillers.
It is.
Which cut did you watch?
I also noticed that all erotic thrillers are incredibly long.
Yeah, they
Basic
they'll push
Instinct
2
was
hours.
the shortest, I think.
Yeah.
I was
2 hours, 10
expecting an
minutes.
hour and a half.
Greg and I
No.
just watched Wild Things. It's
Oh,
like
God,
2.5
that goes on
hours.
forever.
They're all super long.
It was
Eyes
a
Wide
2-hour
Shut was
movie.
2 hours 45 minutes.
But that is
Yeah.
That's Kubrick.
that's
Yeah.
Kubrick. So
That's Kubrick.
Kubrick
Yeah.
is just-
Kubrick gets a
Kubrick.
pass because he's Kubrick.
Kubrick films the film for 5 years because he.
He also
He's Stanley
puts-
Kubrick
yeah.
and he can.
He also puts one of the actresses in actual freaking psychiatry
Right.
because how badly he treats her.
Oh, The Shining.
Yeah.
Um,
She actually needed therapy.
I love that you knew that like right away.
the thing I hated most about
I love The Shining.
Basic Instinct would have been a great movie if it would have picked a genre, is essentially what it comes down to. And this is something I noticed about all of these little erotic thrillers, is that they're trying to be a porn. They're trying to be like a serious movie.
Right.
But even then, the car chase.
The car chase is ridiculous.
First of all,
movies,
there's a car chase in like all of these movies apparently. The car chase is like a staple of being an erotic thriller.
Not so much.
Not in Wild Things.
Wild Things are. Oh no,
I
there
didn't
was
watch
that
Wild
Bayou sequence.
So you have
Yes.
porn and scandalous titties. You have like
thriller.
you have a crime plot going on.
Quasi noir.
And you have like an almost action-y feel, but it's always a car chase. Like there's no
Right.
gunfights in any of these movies. It's always a car chase.
Yeah.
Um,
Romeo's Blue.
Well,
But then again, that's not
but
really.
again,
a-
that's
not
that's
actually.
only barely technically one of these.
Right.
So essentially, you have a movie that has like triple like identity disorder. It's
Yeah.
trying to do too many things at once, and that's what hurt it.
And a lot of them try to throw like plot twists at you like it's an M. Night Shyamalan kind of.
Right. If Basic Instinct would have just like really focused on being like a crime thriller, could have cut like 20 to 30 minutes out of it.
Yeah.
It would have been a fairly entertaining movie.
What cut of Basic Instinct did you watch? Did you watch the director's cut? Because
No, I don't think I did.
there is a deleted scene in the theatrical release where it's somebody's birthday and they get mooned from a helicopter.
I did not see that.
That is not Basic Instinct.
Wait,
that's
it's not?
Color of Night.
Is it Color of Night?
That's Color of Night.
Oh shit! They're blending
Because
together so
They're
hard.
blending together for you because they're all so similar.
How shitty this genre
Color of
is.
Night. It is the
Doug has a comment.
color.
No
of,
comment,
no, no.
just slow.
Color of Night. The police lieutenant, the detective.
That's what it is.
The Mexican dude who's
Yeah.
super offensive to anyone of Latino origin.
Right.
It's his birthday.
Right.
And the police department flies in with the police helicopter.
That's what it is.
And is like, oh, it's your birthday, check out my ass. Because
Yeah.
that makes any sense. And then the helicopter flies away. Just because.
I do love that scene though.
It's funny, don't
I
get me
love,
wrong.
I love it so much. I thought it was in Basic Instinct.
There are like so many parts of these movies it makes no sense. Basic Instinct.
I'd greenlight that scene.
So Basic Instinct
I'd
has...
buy that for $1.
It starts with, for anyone who hasn't watched it, it starts with a rock star getting stabbed to death by an ice pick. And when the police arrive on scene, it turns out the rock star has ties to the mayor, and this is like a major case, and everyone needs to be worried about it. And after that scene, no one gives a shit about the dude who got killed.
No mayor, no dude.
No mayor, no like ties, like no worry about this former rock star who got stabbed by an ice pick 38 times in the chest. Like it's just not talked about. They only talk about the fact that the guy is investigating a potential suspect and how he shouldn't be. But no one's actually concerned with the dude who got murdered in the beginning.
Yeah, nothing.
Before we jump down the rabbit hole that is plot holes in Basic Instinct.
Because it's a big rabbit hole.
This is the rest of the episode talking about plot holes.
The rest of the movie?
Yeah.
Right.
I have a couple of points. One of the big ones is that Basic Instinct actually may be responsible for saving the sex scene in movies, because this was at the height of the AIDS epidemics. And a lot of Hollywood was shying away from sex scenes and sexuality because AIDS was everywhere. So Peter Verhoeven comes in and says, I'm going to make the sexiest film I can.
Best way to do it.
And it's going to be Basic Instinct.
Best way to do it, bro.
And he just goes nuts
I'm
with
not
it.
sure whether or not an enemy bullet killed them or their own people.
The other note that I've got on this is
gonna
that the LGBTQ apostrophe ampersand, whatever you want to add to that.
Keeping it political.
Community was just going nuts about this film because somebody had leaked a copy of the script of this film.
The evil lesbian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, the
they
evil bisexual.
hated the
Yeah.
way that this film treated gay and bisexual people, particularly lesbians, to the point where Peter Verhoeven was leaking like false filming schedules so that the protesters would go to the wrong place during the filming and not disrupt what they were actually doing.
Well, evil lesbian is such a trope.
It really is.
Yeah, really.
It
No,
really
it
is.
has been though for a long time.
Yeah.
Going
Even
back
if
like
it's not film, but I think novels is like.
Well, like even like in the 20s, it was like
evil
veiled.
or
you
evil
know?
sexually ambiguous woman.
Yeah.
With like
I
the
think predatory lesbian is the trope you're looking for.
yes, that's a term, but like that
Which-
is a trope. That is
Which,
such a trope.
speaking of,
Psycho
do you have
lesbian
anything
is
to add about
actually
Basic
the trope.
Instinct?
Let me see.
I might touch on the
Right.
fact that
Anyone-
Do I have anything to
What?
add?
the film. What?
Psycho lesbian is the trope.
No, I think predatory lesbian is the one I'm looking for.
You want to go through a quick synopsis?
Please.
Of Basic Instinct.
Of Basic
in general?
Instinct, yeah.
Okay.
Please do so. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so Basic Instinct. Sharon Stone's like a writer, she stabs a guy, and like there's this
It gives her an alibi because
it gives her an alibi because she wrote a book
Sharon
about stabbing
Stone
people.
stabs the shit out of a dude
Right.
with an ice pick exactly in the way that it's described in her own book that she had put out like a year ago or so.
Right.
And that gives her an alibi.
Right.
Would I be dumb enough to kill someone in the way that I wrote about?
Right. And I like how that comes back later when the predatory lesbian gets killed in a car accident.
Right.
Yeah.
The cop starts
Because-
like echoing everything that she said.
Yeah.
Regarding her, her book, like describing the killing that she actually does, like her actual murder, that was one of the most engaging parts of the film for me because it was so stupid, but it was so interesting at the same time. I was like, this is fucking stupid. But I was like, whoa, did she? Like, it just sucks you right in. Like, so that was fantastic.
But like every cop and ADA, lieutenant, captain, everyone is like, you know what? That's a good point. She wouldn't be that dumb,
Right?
She's off the hook.
Interesting point of trivia.
Suspension of disbelief.
Sharon
I
Stone's
fucking
role.
like that. Suspension.
Peter
of disbelief.
Verhoeven originally wanted
Another
Julia Roberts to play that part. So.
Really?
Terrible.
That would have been a very different.
It would have been a very different.
Yeah.
Because she
That
was
would have
like
been terrible and a very different character.
Also,
but
I don't know if I
I'm
wanna
thinking
see,
of the interrogation scene, and I
her
kind of am
badge
happy with that.
at all.
Back
Yeah.
she was pretty
Yeah.
firmly in the middle of her America's Sweetheart thing at
Yes.
the time, wasn't she?
Yeah, that would have
She
been
was.
okay.
Oh, that would have been
One
It
of
might have been cool.
That's why he wanted her.
One of the things to keep in mind with this entire genre is that it pays lip service to police procedure and court procedure at best. So it's
Right.
like, yeah, she wouldn't be that dumb to do that. No, any ADA or police officer worth their salt would have
Like,
been going, no.
The entire
we have to investigate this.
SFPD
Right.
would have been under super internal affairs investigation by the end of this because they all botched every aspect of this every step of the way.
4 wild things within the first part of it. It's like, okay, order a rape kit. She declined a rape kit. Red flag.
Right.
When I watched Basic Instinct, I went from liking and hating this movie back and forth.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
Because it's so goony.
Like,
but
it's-
it's fun though. It's
It's
awesome.
very goony, but it's very well performed.
Yeah, like
It's very well
fucking
done.
Michael Douglas is acting his
I love the
ass
fact that I got to
off.
see that from Michael Douglas.
He's got a lot
Yeah.
of really heavyweight actors behind
Yeah.
it. I
'Cause
think
he's like-
that saves a lot of
The
it.
genre in general.
Yeah,
But
he's
like-
definitely his dirty cop from Black
Yeah.
Rain, but
Very-
it has to
very
be
much so.
as sexy as he possibly can, which is not very because it's fucking Michael Douglas, right? But he's really trying, like really hard. He's
Are
trying
you
to be
sure
his
you don't want
partner.
to cast my son Kirk?
Michael Douglas's partner, Gus, actually plays like the lead detective in the very first season of Law and Order. He's killed at the end of the season. But he's totally like a Law and Order detective, and that's all that's going through my mind.
Did I fuck that up and call Michael Douglas Kurt Douglas?
No,
No,
you
I'm
didn't.
sitting here
You
going
just
like,
did.
Taylor.
Douglas is the dad.
Okay,
You
that's
had it
what
right,
I
don't
got
worry.
wrong.
One of my
Scared the shit out of me for a minute.
I
Fine,
scared
fine.
myself.
One of my problems with the movie was a continuity issue. Like he had just
Only
got
one?
Well,
Only one?
This is one in particular that was just glaring.
I'm not convinced there was a continuity editor on this film.
Well, what happened was, they just get done in bed and she just raped his back. It is
Oh, God,
bleeding.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he's on the bed on his back. Gets up. There is no blood on the bed. And
Right.
he's walking to the bathroom. There are no scratches.
There's no marks on his back.
And when Roxy comes in, he's talking and whatnot, and
He's got scratches
automatically
on
the
the
max
back, yeah.
marks are back.
So
That's just bad editing.
speaking of marks on the
Continuity.
back,
Ton of bad
Well,
editing.
you know what happened was they shot those
Scenes
not
out
in
of order.
sequence.
Yeah, shot out of sequence.
I mentioned earlier
Movies are
that
shot out of
scene was
sequence.
like 5 days in the filming because he
Right.
filmed every single possible angle and scene.
need you to keep having sex.
because
No, you're broken up about
He's
it.
trying to get this as
Get a
far as he
fluffer
could
in
push
here.
it without the ratings
NC-17.
society, whatever. Shooting it down. No, he went for NC-17, and
But
they
he
were
got R.
pushing the limits of actual XXX porno film.
He got so
did
much
get
trouble
R.
for that badge.
He did get R.
He
because
That
he
doesn't
was-
surprise me. I was surprised with the amount of like just full on like
He is like totally down.
like
a
it's
little
not
kid,
just
like-
Bush, it's full on bad.
Yeah, it's full on badge.
The
There's
only
the
part
whole
that
thing.
surprises me
'Cause, like,
is
I
that
never
the
saw
actors-
this movie.
Robbie OBGYNs.
until Thursday. Like I didn't.
not that
I've
bad.
never seen this movie before the other day.
Nice.
Because like I was 7 when it came out.
Like the only thing that surprised me is this was the '90s. This amount of nudity and whatnot would be perfectly fine in the '70s.
In the
a
70s,
Hammer-
yeah.
In like a Hammer film or anything
Right,
like that. But
Anything from Italy.
yeah.
But
Always Italy with you.
Italy's
Keep
awesome.
your hard on for Italy out of the topic.
We gotta
It's
fucking.
weird boot-shaped hard on.
We gotta do like an Italian horror episode. So I can
Eventually.
jerk
Get it
off
out of
all
here.
over
But
Italy.
today we're talking about Cinemax porn
Yeah,
mixed in with the drama.
Skinamax!
So moving from Basic Instinct on, I don't want
Right.
to focus too much on it. It was acceptable.
It was pretty good.
I still say
It pretty much set
it
the
was-
bar for the
it
genre.
did.
Yeah.
It set the bar low, which is
Sets the bar
awesome.
low. Sets the bar low.
Very low brow.
Like a Merlot.
Would have been a great movie if you just kind of would have dialed back like the porn and just kind of focused on being like kind of a thriller movie.
Or
Would've
jumped
been
right
Maybe
in.
a
really
little more
good.
crime procedure.
But regardless, it is what it
very
is.
good.
So let's talk about its knockoff. Body of
Body of
Evidence.
For one thing, Willem Dafoe.
He is not sexy. What were they thinking?
I didn't realize that Willem Dafoe and Madonna hooking up
gonna
was
be
a thing
super-
that I needed in my life,
Yeah.
or more importantly,
They were gonna be super
didn't
naked and
need in
do
my
it.
life.
Now the question is, was he William Defoe or was he William DeFriend?
He was Willem Dafoe.
Oh, really?
To me.
Being
That
cast as the
tired
Green
old
Goblin
man.
is the most facially accurate casting that man has
so
ever
you have
had.
young Willem Dafoe
Right.
hooking up with Madonna,
Still looking like a skeleton.
still looking
That
like
just,
Willem Dafoe.
had
He just got done
a
getting
face
shot
tied over
by
its head.
Per IMDb, they only cast Willem Dafoe because Madonna insisted.
Oh, really?
Really? What was her relationship with Willem Dafoe at the
No
time?
idea.
Platoon.
Oh.
Wait, didn't we just? Wasn't Willem Dafoe in Cool
Madonna
World
was in
too?
Platoon?
No.
No, but like
What
his
am I thinking
performance
of?
in Platoon.
Gabriel Byrne was in.
Gabriel. Okay.
Yeah.
He looks like him. Anyway.
He was awesome in Platoon.
Yeah,
But he
Eli.
wasn't sexy in Platoon.
So,
So-
speaking of
He
Law
gave
and
off
Order,
that vibe.
speaking of Law and Order,
Right.
if Basic Instinct is like the first half of an episode of Law and Order, where it's like the cops
Right.
and everything, and it's all police
The
procedural.
law part.
Body of Evidence is full on the order
Courtroom
part
drama.
because it's 100% courtroom drama.
Who the hell thought that was a good idea?
I love me a good courtroom drama. The
Right.
problem is
Hey,
that
whoa.
putting an emphasis on the word phrase
Totally.
good courtroom drama. Body of Evidence, like she gets arrested right away in the beginning, which I wasn't expecting. And the whole movie is courtroom drama. It's all about the lawyerism and like going back and forth with the guy from Criminal Minds, which I picked up
fuck
on
yeah.
that right
Joe
away.
Montana?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like the lead on Criminal Minds.
He's an awesome actor.
He is.
Yeah. Once again, a movie with super good actors.
So him and Willem
Defoe.
Dafoe are going back and forth in this courtroom over
Right.
Madonna's fate.
And it's weird because
Oh,
Joe
it's-
Montana's a cop in that movie. Why is
Oh,
he
God.
also being
Why
like
is
the...
he-
No, he's not a cop. He's the ADA.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
He's the ADA. That's why he shows up to the crime scene after the police have already kind of
okay.
disseminated it. ADA shows up to kind of get an idea of what's going on in his world.
Fair enough.
Yes, don't worry about
It's
I
still
kind-
weird procedurally, according to Greg. I can
I-
see you making...
No, that's what you're
not that
going to
good.
disseminate.
I kind of liked Body of Evidence. Just because I'm kind of a weird fan of courtroom
Yeah.
procedural and courtroom drama.
It's an interesting
Okay,
take on it.
here's the thing
ADA
about Body of
would not
Evidence
go to
that I
crime
want to
scene.
bring up.
Okay.
Fornicating to someone to death is not a crime. What the hell? What I mean, just like the
It's
entire
not a
premise
crime.
of that
It's
was
not a-
insane. Like she's a evil fornicator. She did it.
Okay. Two
She did.
things.
She's so good at sex.
I'm okay with this. If I can come and go at the same time, I'll be happy.
Hang on. Bring it
I
back,
did
bring it
not
back.
like that.
So two things. One, correct. Fornicating someone to death is not a crime. It's Willem Dafoe's opening statement as a lawyer is that that's not a crime.
Yeah.
The problem is it is a crime if you're conspiring to do it. That's conspiracy to commit murder.
Yes.
So if
Conspiracy
you're
to fuck someone to death.
if you're slipping someone a stimulant that you know is gonna kill them when you're fucking them,
Drug
Right.
poisoning.
that's kind of a crime because that's conspiracy to
poisoning
commit
and
murder.
conspiracy, yeah.
My
Now-
favorite thing about that movie is how many times they say cocaine poisoning.
Yeah.
You understand so much, it's not even funny.
Apparently, during this entire film, Madonna was method acting. I'll let you meditate on that for a moment.
Oh, man.
Moving
She
on.
was.
Let's not remember that ever.
She
was I
was
gonna say?
so weird looking in that movie too. 'cause,
She
like,
was.
She
She really
came,
was.
Well, she came right off her like Hollywood starlet phase, And like when they made
Was
this,
this like
she was
right after Evita?
no, it was before Evita, but it was like right after her like Dick
Came out
Tracy.
a year after Basic Instinct.
I love
It's
Dick
93.
Tracy.
So do I. Dick Tracy's
It's
awesome.
93
But,
this movie came out.
It and it coincides with her like she put out this book called Sex, which is all like
Yeah.
sexy, weird, glamour stuff.
Yep.
And like her Truth or Dare tour,
Yep.
which is just her being sexy. But like in the
The
movie,
entirety of her career.
Apparently,
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe like begged her to put off putting out this book because he thought it was going to have a negative impact on the movie. That it would just be the sex book movie,
right?
and she just basically gave him the finger about it.
Well, because it wouldn't. Like it's if anything, Truth or Dare was the movie version of Sex. But she just looked insane. Like she shaved her eyebrows off and had it painted on. You know what I mean? Which looks
Right.
good if you're like a flapper from the 20s. That's fucking like
So-
sweet, or a chola.
So, you talked about how it's essentially a knockoff of Basic Instinct.
Right.
There's so many similarities to it.
lot.
Though, like a lot. And not just like the obvious ones. Because like you have the obvious femme fatale
Right.
murdering the shit out of somebody.
Like
for-
stitching up a public official.
Stitching a public
Yeah.
official. It goes so much as like Doug mentioned, the scraping on the back, the glass shards in the back that like the guy's wife picks up on
Yeah.
later, and she's like, "How did you get those marks on your back,
Julianne
Willem
Moore,
Dafoe?"
of all people, super hot 90s Julianne
Right.
Moore.
So like you have the marks on the back. You have was there a car chase in Body of Evidence?
No.
I can't remember. Okay, so you don't have the car chase, which is a weird staple of this genre. I didn't
Yeah.
pick up on. You have the almost rape scene,
yeah.
which was
Yeah.
super fucked up in both movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
When
Which
he
is
fucks
another
Gene
standard in the
Triplehorn.
genre.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
she's like, I don't want this, but it's okay. I do kind of want it.
Yeah.
And that's not okay. Like
And he's like putting his fingers in her mouth and stuff.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
super weird. It's super gross. And it's not, and it's in both movies.
Yeah.
Context with the fact that the director of Body of Evidence says in the news that Madonna refused to take direction for sex scenes.
For sure.
So that's all Madonna.
I was just thinking.
Oh,
pictures
weird.
to the
It's like you have the
eyes.
super weird sex, and you have the marks on the back. There's like
The S&M, like there's that
like the
candle wax
S&M with
part.
the candle
Yeah.
wax and like tying up in Body of
Yeah.
Evidence. You have the candle wax and Body of Evidence. I said Body of Evidence twice. Basic Instinct had the tying up. Candle wax was in Body of Evidence.
Right.
So you have the S&M. They say the phrase sadomasochistic behavior in both movies.
Yeah.
Which no one talks like that
Yeah.
at all. There's just so many.
The opening
parallels.
scene
The opening
of
scene
both of those
is-
movies
of both
are like
movies is
identical.
Super
They're-
identical.
The opening
It's a
scene
dead
of
guy
Body
in
of
bed
Evidence is
and
creepy because
cops
it's
are
a
in
dead
there.
guy watching a porno of himself.
Of
in
himself,
bed,
yeah.
which is
Super
awesome. I
weird.
kind of like that, just because it's fucking like weird and morbid.
Yeah, it's coming and going at the same
Right?
time.
And
And when
I
the
have a
cops are in the bedroom, it's
Yeah.
like it's
He's
just the
coming
same
after.
thing.
He's been going.
I have a feeling that Body of Evidence might have been a better script.
It might have been, but it was not executed as well.
Yeah.
I think it had more B-list actors attached to it.
I think it might have gone through like a lot of rewrites because there was some definite weird, morbid shit that wasn't in Basic Instinct, like the dead guy watching a porno of himself in bed, for example.
I only got to
So
watch
spooky.
one of the movies. So.
And it's weird because like the dead guy's not tied up in that scene, but they found him tied up later.
So they untied him so he could watch his porno?
Yeah, like he was
Here, listen.
untied and watching a porno of himself being killed.
Continuity.
Do you think it's
Editor,
continuity,
we've
or do you
discussed
think
this.
it's just weird?
Whoever
I don't
was
know.
in charge, like, someone's supposed to be in charge of that. Like, that's
Right?
someone's job.
Yeah, that's the continuity editor and the director. Like, if I'm like, wait, isn't he tied up in that scene? Like,
Continuity editor.
Otherwise, your
Yeah.
explanation is the cops felt bad for him and untied him so he could watch his porno. as
Right.
Batman.
What are they hoping he would get one last jack off?
maybe.
This guy's dead. It's the
Oh,
only
man.
thing we can do.
Nice. Yeah, like Body of Evidence is weird like that. Defoe, horrifying to watch.
William
have sex.
Defoe is always
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
horrifying
He's
to
not-
watch. It's like you're the most terrifying man in the
faces.
world.
He's
and
an
yet the
awesome
most
actor.
intriguing.
And he tried. He got like all buff and shit for the role, trying to be sexy. But like his face is just horrifying. He has
Yeah.
gappy teeth, and he looks like he looks like a skeleton Who somebody took a human face and just like kind of tied it around the back there. Yeah. I like him too. He's awesome.
Yeah,
an
he's a
awesome
good
actor.
actor. Like,
Is he going to stab someone to death, or is he going to cross-dress?
He's super good at Body of Evidence until he has to fuck Madonna.
Yeah, voice too. Like he doesn't have a voice that makes me think
sexy
leading
voice.
man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not kidding. The best casting that they did for the Spider-Man trilogy was him as the Green Goblin because I'm like, I 100% believe your face is the Green Goblin.
Right. He's a frightening human being.
Yes.
Yeah.
It turns
definitely
seems
is.
to wear a shirt face.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's a quote from.
Platoon from
Never-
William Dafoe's
I've never
character.
seen Platoon.
Yeah. Willem Dafoe's fucking crazy in Platoon, and he's
And
awesome.
awesome at the same
Yeah.
time because he is that drugged out hippie sergeant that's like, I don't care anymore.
I think you just summed up
Perfect.
Willem Dafoe. Fucking crazy and awesome.
Yeah. Not sexy in
No.
any way.
Any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I never needed to see Willem
Dafoe's
Dafoe's ass. Was not a thing I needed in my life.
Yeah, Body of Evidence. It's Basic Instinct all the way through. If Basic
It
Instinct
really
was
is.
really boring.
It's 100% backup. Basic Instinct was way
and
more
nobody gets
entertaining.
shot in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't watch any other movies, so.
I mean, if you watched Basic Instinct, you watched Body of Evidence.
Yeah.
Just you watched the
Okay,
Philly
so
Star
It's the
Trav-
courtroom drama.
I was a teenager in the 90s. I saw these things.
Shall Trav and I cover Wild Thing?
Wild Things.
What is there? What is there really to cover beyond this movie? Is way too fucking long.
I'll admit for the first part after you said it was Matt Dillon, I thought Matt Damon. And for the most of the movie, I'm going like, holy shit, Matt Damon looks a hell of a lot like Freddie Prinze Jr. right now.
Oh, it was Matt Dillon.
Yeah, that's what you're going like, that's Freddie Prinze Jr. No,
Like,
that's not.
This movie could very easily be broken down into 3 segments and almost 3 separate movies with the way it changes tone and pacing. And the first one, where they're accusing Matt Dillon's character of being a rapist, is
Not
really
Freddie Prinze
good.
Jr..
It's really edgy your seat, and then Bill Murray shows up and is Bill Murray, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing in this movie?
I wanted a paycheck.
Pretty much.
Right.
And then it
Gotta get paid.
yeah, where you've
Bill
got this
Murray,
whole
motherfucker.
Don't skip cardio day.
this whole guidance counselor is accused of raping 2 of his students, and it's just it goes to trial.
Keep talking. Keep
Yeah,
talking.
it's just like Nev Campbell,
Keep talking.
Denise Richards,
You have the floor.
Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon. Fucking
Yes.
Kevin Bacon.
Surprise me.
And like the
We'll agree
first
with that.
third,
I really did
or I
not
guess
need
the
to
first
see Kevin
act of
Bacon
this
that
film,
way.
you know, Matt Dillon's character is accused
Hollow
of
Man was
raping
an improvement.
2 of his students, and it
Hollow
goes
Man
to
was
trial, and it's his life
was
just
nude,
falling
he was
apart,
invisible
and
most of the
everybody in town turning against him. And he loses everything because this guy had been dating like the richest girl in town, and suddenly she won't talk to him, and her father's like threatening his life. He loses his membership at the local club. He gets kicked out of teaching at the college, at the school because he just fucked 2 students and so on. And then it comes out at the trial that the girls were fabricating everything because he refused to sleep with the rich girl who
Sounds
had
more like the
daddy issues.
Crucible.
Yeah, very
A little
much so.
bit.
Very similar.
Except
And then the second act starts,
Instead
and
of
you
witches,
find out,
it's-
no, he's actually sleeping with both of these girls, and he put them up to it so he could defraud the rich girl's mother out of like $8 million in a slander libel lawsuit.
And a
after
trust
the-
fund.
Yeah, the trust fund.
How come nothing in these movies ever makes sense?
Right.
I
Because
know,
they're
right?
trying to have sweet plot points.
Yeah.
And like.
And
And like, they're just
twists.
failing
They're
miserably.
like-
wait.
Always
The
crazy
plot's not
twists.
making sense. Tits.
Well, here's what it is. Like,
Yeah.
the plot's good in the script, and then, after Basic Instinct particularly, they're like, oh fuck, we're doing an erotic thriller. We gotta throw in some tits. We
We need more boobs. There has to be more scandalous titties.
Here is Kevin
Which is
Bacon's dick.
interesting.
We should have
because-
called this episode "Tits" or GTFO.
Wild
And I don't know why we didn't.
That can be the caption.
Which
Nice.
is interesting because Wild Things is the first and only film in which Denise Richards does a nude scene.
Oh, what about-
after her second boob job?
What about Starship Troopers?
This is much later.
Oh yeah, she was dizzy.
Another
Yeah, much
Verhoeven
later.
film.
But Nev Campbell, the other girl,
That wasn't
in
a
this,
full shot, it
actually
was
had
just
a
her.
thing in her contract. She wouldn't do a nude scene, so you
Dizzy
get
was
a
a
shot of
dude.
her back at some point in time. But she never actually does nudity in this thing, which is,
Dizzy was a dude.
Was it? Was it?
In the book, Dizzy was a dude.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
just the note that at the time the film was made, Kevin Bacon had a no nude thing in his contract, but he appears nude in this film. He's also the director, so technically he could sue himself.
That's classic Kevin Bacon. Okay.
Classic
Now you
Bacon.
have
9 degrees of
Bacon.
Kevin Bacon with him suing himself.
What the fuck does that even mean? Color of Night.
There's not much else to add about Wild Things aside from the fact that it is long.
Color
Of
You
Night.
guys
Color of Night.
It was ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Color of Night stars Bruce Willis.
Color of
first
Night.
of all.
I'd say
Go ahead.
the most interesting of the erotic
I
thrillers.
disagree. Your Excellency.
Okay.
I'm going to stick with Basic Instinct being the interesting one.
Yeah, I will too. Color of Night is like the definitive I'm offended movie. Like of the early 90s. Because like if someone was going to pick a movie where like...
It was the 90s. Nobody was offended. That started in the 2000s.
No. This
people
is-
were offended. in the
Color of
90s.
Night came out in
distinctly
'94,
remember.
so it's mid '90s, and it's like if you're gonna watch a movie and go, you know what, I feel bad about the things I'm viewing. I feel is
That would be
offended the
Sharknado.
word? Is offended the word? I think offended might be the
Maybe.
word. Color of Night would be it. So first of all, as a colorblind person, I'm offended by the way it portrays the colorblind. Fuck that movie. Secondly,
It's still fantastic.
Secondly, because the whole movie revolves around concept of group therapy, every portrayal of a mental disability in that movie is horribly wrong.
Super goony.
Super good is
Yeah.
super horribly wrong.
Definitely.
Super offensive. Between the multiple personality disorder being portrayed, the OCD, the nymphomania.
The nymphomania.
The super nymphomania played by Miss Scarlet from Clue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which if I didn't IMDb that, never would have realized.
She was hot in Clue though.
She was not hot in Color
You
of
don't think
Night.
so?
I strongly feel that Clue was largely miscast, especially with regards to Miss Scarlet.
When Miss Scarlet screams
Don't
and she's
worry,
smoking.
Clue's getting a reboot.
Miss Scarlet in
I
Clue
don't
was
think
fairly
it's
hot.
Yeah.
Miss Scarlet in Color
yeah.
of Night,
Yeah, no,
not nearly
no,
as
no way.
hot,
What, pushing 40 in color?
if not more.
More. She was
Regardless,
probably pushing
so like you
40
have
in
the, you have the
Clue,
nymphomania, you have the OCD, you have the multiple personality disorder, you have the gender identity disorder, you have all kinds of these disorders in Color of Night, which are being.
This is 2017. We can't call gender identity disorder anymore.
That's what they call it in the movie, though. So I'm gonna roll with it.
Nobody even called it that then. I don't even think it was a thing.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing.
Gender
You know what?
dysphoria used to be a disorder. Now it's.
You
just
know what else isn't a
life.
thing? Psychosomatic colorblindness.
Oh.
Not a thing.
That hurt me just to hear you say that.
It should hurt you to say because it's not a thing. Everything about that movie is just so wrong from a mental health standpoint.
Right.
You have Bruce Willis and Scott Bakula. You have John McClane and the captain of the original Enterprise.
I'm going to suck your bank
Fucking
account.
teaming up to be shrinks, not even
Right.
doctors, but just general.
Well, like honestly, he
psychoanalysts.
probably like quantum leapt into
That
the
was
real
offensive
strength.
to psychiatrists.
It was.
It's like I have to solve this murder so I can get back to my own time. Okay.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was your reminder that quantum leap was a thing.
Quantum Leap was a great thing.
Oh my gosh, it was definitely a thing. So you have. We're gonna start with the part that's nearest to my heart: the psychosomatic colorblindness,
Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen.
which I
This is a good
still
argument.
hate. So the movie opens. So there's no spoiler alertness here, aside from the fact this movie came out like
Yeah.
25 years ago.
Fuck spoiler alerts. We're going all the way.
The movie
This is 25
opens.
years ago. I'm sad.
This is
now.
not really 25 years ago.
1994.
It's 25 years.
You're right. It was 23 years
Oh,
ago.
mother-
I
Fucker.
am sad now.
All right.
So
Why do you do
So let's
this?
say it's 15 years ago.
no. So the movie.
Let's say this movie came out in 2002.
So this movie opens. Bruce Willis is a shrink, and he's treating a patient, and his patient is some kind of depressed,
Suspension
and
of
goes,
disbelief.
you know what? Fuck it, I'm jumping out the window. So she dives out the window of like the 15th floor of this New York doctor's office
Right.
and kills herself. And Bruce Willis is so traumatized.
A ridiculous
by this.
scene, but well shot.
Okay, I'll give you that. It was well shot.
This is a pretty movie. Of all the
The version I watched was still standard def, and it was 480p on my 1080p television. So I'm gonna have to take your word that it's a pretty version,
Right.
a pretty movie, because it wasn't pretty when I watched it.
oh man,
So she dives out the window and kills herself. And Bruce Willis is so traumatized by this that he stops seeing the color red because he watches the color of the blood vanish from his patient. 15 floors up, mind you.
Greg is
Right.
making a face.
15 floors up, which is bullshit. He never would have seen any of that blood. It would have just been a dot to
I'm
him.
thinking meta for a moment. Is this why the color red is so important in The Sixth Sense?
No. But it is why it's so important in this movie, because the color red does continue to show up because he can't see it.
right?
Speaking as a colorblind individual,
You're too hard.
it doesn't fucking work that way. At all.
Right.
It just doesn't. You
So-
don't all of a sudden stop seeing a color and you see it as gray. You just see it as another color that's really close.
Right.
Because quite frankly, when does red start and stop?
She definitely.
Yeah.
At orange?
Right.
At pink?
She was going.
Well, usually red starts about a half a second after yellow, and then it stops when green shows up. But
I will stab you. I lost my pen cap. I will stab you.
I resisted
right
the urge
here.
to get the
So,
color
like-
blot shirts.
So colorblindness just doesn't work that way. As a colorblind person, I'm offended. Aside from all the other mental disorders,
But you're not psychosomatically colorblind.
I'm not
You're real-
psychosomatic.
You're a real
I'm
colorblind.
colorblind. Psychosomatic.
no such thing as psychosomatic colorblindness.
There is literally no such thing as psychosomatic colorblindness. If you were to Google the phrase psychosomatic colorblindness,
You get
Right
color
now.
right?
colorblind is the number 4 result, because this is a thing that me and Adria did earlier.
Oh, number 4, really?
Number 4, psychosomatic
It's like
colorblind.
multiple
If you
personality.
Google that phrase, the first 2 things are about psychosomatic blindness, which
Right.
is a thing. The third result is something completely irrelevant, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe, maybe not. And the 4th result is the entry on Color of Night.
It's like multiple
have-
personality
It is that
disorder.
much
It doesn't
not a
work
thing.
that way.
I have a trivia note just to break up Ryan's rage at the moment. Director Rich Rush filmed the pool scene sequence with which featured full
The pool sequence!
Oh,
Because I
the
needed
pool
Bruce Willis's cock in my life.
with a body This is where it's important. With a body double, because Bruce Willis's penis was deemed too small.
Oh,
Bruce Willis!
However, all of the sequences featuring the character's ass are actually Bruce Willis.
nice.
Yippee-ki-yay, not big enough, motherfucker.
So,
Well, then
okay.
again, movie small.
Yippee-ki-yay
And real small
compensation,
are 2 different
motherfucker.
Okay, so in the end, I still haven't seen Bruce Willis's penis. I'm okay with this.
That's
Fair
okay,
enough.
you can go and see Kevin Bacon's.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Skip that one.
Like, the whole movie, like, aside... Okay, so moving past the mental illness, you then have the detective.
Right.
The Latino detective. who
Latino
is pretty much
detective.
every negative Latino stereotype in the world.
Was he? Was he?
What's he talking about?
He tells the guy, because he
Cholo.
doesn't knock before coming into his office, that must be a third world thing because
Oh,
the dude is black.
So
I mean,
bad.
come on!
Yeah.
That's a line. He goes, oh, don't mind him, it's a third world thing.
Oh man.
What?
I only whoa because I
Yeah.
experienced that.
What does that mean?
What?
I mean, I know what it means, but what does that mean?
Is the Latino detective?
He's an asshole. He's the dude who gets mooned.
Yeah, he's in
No,
Color
he's
of Night.
Dr. Kukoi.
Is he also in Predator 2 as the Latino detective?
Oh, I'm checking that.
Quite possible.
I don't
Is this
think
poor
so. but
guy
I'm
just
gonna
like
check it.
only like Latino
Fact
detective?
check.
He's Latino detective.
I will fact check that. Is he
Seems like I
typecast?
Is he,
remember.
As
is he
Latino
Lenny
detective.
Briscoe's partner?
No.
Because I know he had one after he had the black partner.
Right.
Are we just running through people
Black
who've
partner.
been Lenny Briscoe's partner on Law and Order?
Oh
We
man.
don't have that kind of
Lenny
time.
Briscoe was on
That's
Law and Order for like
something
14 years.
I'm pretty
There was
sure
one
he
that
was
got
in
sent
Predator
downstate.
2.
I don't think he was.
I'm-
I've watched
I can't
Predator
think
2
of
a lot.
I can't think of the
So
actor
am I.
in Predator 2.
I'm I'm sorry, Donald
I watched
Glover.
Color of Night a little bit
All I
earlier.
really took away from
As a
Predator 2
serious
is that they
action
sampled that
hero,
open
it's
scene or that
top
opening sequence
Even
with
though
the
they
police
didn't
scanner.
That's because he's
He was!
Son
Son of a bitch.
Hold it.
I am depressed.
He's the same character, but in Predator 2.
But he's
like,
good in Predator 2. He's
Yeah.
awful.
Oh, he's good. He's trying his
That's all
ass
I really
off.
took away
He's
from
pretty much the same guy as Predator 2. He's doing the same.
So it was the same guy?
It's the same
Yeah.
guy.
Really?
Son of a bitch.
I like to think
Well,
the guy from Predator 2 is the son of the guy from Color of
But
Night.
like he's a
Keep them in
good
the same
cop in
continuity.
Predator 2. In Color of Night, he's just a douchebag scumbag.
He's not great. Yeah.
Like his first response is, "Well, maybe you killed your friend because
Right.
you were competitive."
Oh god.
If
If
that
that
was
was
the
the
case,
Ryan wouldn't have any friends.
I know, right? I would be the
All
prime
those
suspect
years
in all
ago.
of my friends' deaths.
Maybe
Maybe a
it's
serial
different
murderer.
parts of that detective's career. Like the Predator
Well,
part
no.
occurs
Right.
earlier
No.
on.
Well, Predator 2
that's a
takes place in
toss-up
the near
competitive
future,
thing.
It takes place in the near future, in the year 1997.
right?
It's dated in the beginning of it.
Right.
So
I really wish films wouldn't do that. That's
I
all.
know, right? It should say 20XX.
In the
Like,
near
yeah,
future,
In the year
20 years ago.
2000X.
In the year 2016,
in the
we
far
have colonized
future, in the year
Mars
2000.
and engaged in wars at the
October 7th,
Tannhauser Gate.
1997, the end day.
Shoulder variety.
So
What are
like,
y'all quoting?
my other super big problem with Color of Night is that it's super predictable. And it is the same problem I had with Basic Instinct, and it is the same problem I had with Body of Evidence.
Honestly, Basic Instinct wasn't predictable because I didn't care. Like I wasn't
That's
trying.
harsh.
I wasn't trying to figure anything out.
That's
You know, because I just assumed
Yeah.
that Sharon
the only
Stone
thing-
was the thing.
The only thing I was trying to figure out is not necessarily who done it, but was it or was it not Sharon Stone?
You,
Right.
you should
I
have
had that
watched
macro
Wild
to
Things
divine
with Greg and I.
intervention.
No, I shouldn't have.
You really shouldn't have. But the
Because
plot
Paladins
twist
committed
wouldn't have been
suicide.
that obvious to you, mostly because they don't make sense.
Right.
Nothing
wipe so many
in
rates
any
with
of
that.
these movies makes sense. And
Right.
that's my biggest problem with this as a genre or subgenre, whatever we're calling it.
It's a
I
genre.
think it's a genre.
It's not
I'm
Is
with
it a genre or is it a subgenre?
I would
It's a
call it a
full-on
genre. Yeah.
Erotic Thrillers is a genre. It's not a subgenre of thriller.
Of thrillers.
I really think it's its own thing. It's
Okay.
very pigeonholed for a specific time period, but I think it's its own thing.
It's super predictable.
Yeah.
Generally.
Weirdly enough, while I'm thinking about the movie being predictable in Basic Instinct, when the guy says, "I'm not predictable,
Right.
I'm unpredictable," and I was like, "Well, that was an ironic statement for my thought
I was gonna
process
say, the
right
minute
now."
somebody says, I'm unpredictable, no, you're predictable as fuck.
You really are.
Find the thing they're least likely to do.
Out of-
They will do that
Out
thing.
of all 5 movies that I watched, they were all super predictable.
Yeah.
100%. I called almost every twist before it happened, minus like 1 or 2 here or there. Like
Right.
I didn't.
I do like the way the twist in Basic Instinct goes
We're
because
really
she
jaded.
definitely stitches up that lady for the murders that she's done, and she kills her
Yeah.
and gets off. I like that. I just like the way
Right.
it goes.
She
I didn't
kills,
care about
gets
the
off,
twist.
And gets off.
Yeah,
like.
and like eventually she's gonna murder Michael Douglas.
I
But then
really
she
think it's
decides
worth pointing
not
out
to.
that we're
Yeah.
watching this as like jaded 2017 something or other. It might not have been so predictable when they first came out.
No,
be fair,
I think.
I was 6 when most of these movies came out. I wouldn't have predicted shit because a purple dinosaur wasn't involved. Come on.
I love you.
No, I'm
You
having more
stabbed me.
Yeah.
Like,
One more thing about Basic Instinct that I just remembered. Did anyone notice the similarities to the beginning of Basic Instinct to Vertigo? With Alfred Hitchcock.
That's gotta be on purpose.
I think it was.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Part of it. Yeah.
So similar.
Absolutely.
I have to
That's
see Vertigo.
So similar.
Vertigo, you're gonna fucking take the shit out of Vertigo. You'll like it.
As
Yeah.
long as it's not like The
Awesome.
Mist or The Bird.
It's an Alfred Hitchcock noir film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would put
It's really, really good.
Vertigo more in this category of Dialing for Murder than I would with The Birds.
Yeah.
so Eyes Wide Shut.
Okay.
Why do you say Eyes Wide Shut is not a thriller?
Because it's not thrilling. It's just there's a whole bunch of. It's
Doesn't
got
mean it's not a thriller. It
Doesn't mean it's not a
badly
thriller. Doesn't
Well-
mean it's not a good movie.
Eyes Wide Shut is a good movie. I do like it. You know,
Okay.
I'm down with it because nothing fucking happens in the movie at all.
I
That's
know,
what I
and
like
it kills me. It's
Yeah.
a movie
However-
that's 2 hours and 45 minutes long,
Right.
And nothing happens in
That
it.
sounds
But
like
no,
an
it's
episode of
Blood
Seinfeld
Ocean, the
to me.
movie.
They like Kubrick maintains an air of menace throughout the entire movie. So you think something's some terrible shit's gonna go down. Right?
That movie reminded me of every
does.
D&D
But
game
wouldn't
we've ever
that-
run.
So it's the ultimate cock block.
Wouldn't the air of menace on
Yeah.
its own kind of give it the
Right.
make it
No,
By
there's nothing really
definition,
happens.
the air of menace should
Yeah.
be thrilling.
Nothing happens.
Yeah. The only thrilling thing that happens is the famous orgy scene, which happens 20 minutes into the goddamn movie, and then you don't have anything to look forward to throughout the whole thing.
You
can now leave the theater.
Eyes Wide Shut is just a porno. Comment from the internet from Felicia.
It's
Felicia, you are correct.
I'm not getting the comments.
It's a good fucking film. I mean, like,
okay.
it's
so hang on.
it's a tone film. It's like
So real quick, the definition of the word thrill
right.
as a verb
Okay.
cause someone to have a sudden feeling of excitement and pleasure.
Right.
None of that applies to Eyes Wide Shut.
Well,
Like it kind of does
Yeah.
when he's cruising around the like creepy mask orgy.
yeah. Here's
Like
it's
you have
fun.
like this kind of thrilling moment of what
It's
the
fun
hell?
up until the
Wrong
creepy,
moments.
up until the creepy mask orgy's over. Like he's having a weird time with his wife. They're going to fucking
Yeah.
weird parties. They're being weird with each
They're
other.
being weird with each
and he
other.
freaks out and he goes on this weird like kind of rampage through the city because he's
Right.
like drunk and doing whatever. And he meets the guy and he has this weird time.
Yeah.
You know. That could have been an entire movie.
That
We
really
could've.
happened is why I met Jordan.
It also does that. So like
I'd be rather watching Ronin.
Eyes Wide Shut is
For
based
real.
off of a 1920s short story.
I had no idea. That's
Really?
awesome. Yeah.
You didn't know that?
No.
Watching it, you pick that up?
No, not at all.
So Eyes Wide Shut is totally based off of a 1920s short story.
Who wrote it?
I
'Cause I
don't
wanna
remember
read it.
off the
That
top of
sounds
my
awesome.
head. Now, knowing
Fuck.
that, you can definitely tell by watching that movie that it's based off of a 1920s short story. First of all, they drag out this movie as much as possible,
Yeah.
which, based on the fact that it's a short story, that movie could have been condensed into 45 minutes.
Have you read the short story?
I have not.
Because I
But
bet it ends with the orgy.
No, it doesn't. Because I was interested in this movie a while ago. I was like, what was the big deal about Eyes Wide Shut? Because I didn't watch it when it came out.
I don't
Right.
know.
So
Like,
when I was
in high school,
reading
girls
about
were
it, when I
nuts
was reading the
about it.
synopsis, I did
And
know
his name is German, so he's probably
that it was
like,
based on a
Ryan
short
Winder.
story.
Oh,
You can
yeah.
tell that it's a
However, that
1920s
Or, yeah,
short
Lawrence, that's
story
the region.
based on the opinions of
Because
sex
it's
that so
kind of-
many
it's
people
kind of
have in
friendly,
this
like,
movie.
switching
Despite the fact that
sides
the movie's
on.
set in the 90s.
Okay.
Despite the fact that it's set in the what?
Okay. Well, I have a comment from the internet here.
Fine.
It goes into what I was going to say.
Oh, nice.
This is from Felicia. My mom and I saw it in the theater. Talk about awkward. We
That's
had no
awkward as
idea
shit.
what we were getting into. I remember the trailers for this movie. It told you
saw
nothing.
it.
It was
did.
just a piano sound,
Yeah.
a couple shots, and then it said Eyes Wide Shut. And that was
Okay.
it.
It was awesome.
So like,
honestly
Jordan,
remember,
for Jordan.
all of the girls in my class being like crazy about this film, like it was the most awesome thing ever.
No.
And just not getting it.
To be fair, they were probably also into Destiny's Child.
okay. Now the
Yes,
thing
yes,
is,
they
Wait,
were.
wait. Greg has a thing.
Okay,
Find the.
based on Arthur Schnitzler's 1926 novella, Traumnovelle,
Welcome.
Dream-
That was
Dream-
that's
That
French.
sounds like a German.
I go
accent.
German based off his last name.
yeah, keep going.
Dream Story.
Dream story.
Okay.
Okay.
Now,
I'm gonna read the
mo-
shit out of it. If
moving
there's an
forward,
English
though.
translation.
Am I alone in thinking Traumnovella
That's
sounds
how
like
I
a French way of saying
so.
Traumaville?
Sure.
Okay, let's get Lloyd in here.
Yes!
So you
Now here's
can
where
tell
Toxie comes
that
in.
like the kind of premise is based off the 1920s, just based on the opinions everyone has of sex.
Right.
In
it's
this
dangerous and weird.
It's
and
dangerous,
gross.
it's weird, and
Yeah.
oh my god,
The
we don't talk about
damn
sex.
flappers.
The concept of Tom Cruise's wife being attracted to another man weirds him out that he has an existential crisis.
Right. Some people are that gross about it.
But
Though.
like,
Yeah.
To this
Yeah, I could see Tom
it's
Cruise doing that.
still like, I don't know, that struck
Just
me
Tom
as
Cruise,
super
like people
weird.
I know I can see.
Like, attraction doesn't stop at marriage.
Yeah.
Like,
You'd be surprised how many people believe that.
but at the same time, like,
Right.
he's like a. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you watched the movie?
He is really bummed out. Oh, okay.
Stop!
I
Have you
have.
watched the movie?
I have, but I was like 12.
Okay, so they go to a party and he's chilling with like two chicks on his arm and he's openly flirting with them and she's dancing with another dude in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
He's obviously attracted to these like two like foreign models and flirting with them. And the concept that his wife is possibly attracted to some other guy weirds him out to the core. And it just doesn't vibe.
This is evidence that we move in very different circles because I know a lot of guys that is exactly how they would react.
I can have as much arm candy as I want, but you look at another guy, there's a problem.
But that's a super old-fashioned way of thinking, and
we live in a super old-fashioned.
To put it in a movie that takes place in '99, where Tom Cruise is a young dude playing a young, sex-appealing doctor.
I'd say he's middle-aged.
And the way it shakes him to his core strikes me as you can tell this is being sourced from something old-fashioned.
It's a bit dated of a concept.
It is.
For where that isn't necessarily.
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm not saying that it's not a thing.
There's still people with that mentality.
It just doesn't
to put
mesh.
it in your media.
It doesn't vibe. It doesn't mesh. That's the big hang-up I'm having here.
I guess I really didn't pick up on that because, again, I was 12, but again,
no,
a lot of the men that I know,
Doug
that's
destroys
exactly how they
Right,
behave.
like every time, like he has like a break in the action, a flash, it's pseudo flashbacks to him thinking about his wife fucking this dude from like that she had like a
spooky
pseudo fantasy
sailor
like
thing?
a year ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what she confesses to him while he's stoned.
Right.
That like they had sex once and she thought about another dude during it.
And he's just like,
And
fucked
like it
up
just
about it.
totally fucks him up and shakes him to his core.
So
Like,
he goes
the
to a
point that
weird
he
sex
almost
party.
hooks up with Hooker, and he goes to a weird sex party.
Right.
Who hasn't thought about another person while they were having sex?
Everyone, ever.
I am not answering that. Yeah, I'm not answering that on camera. I'm not that dumb.
That's only because your wife is watching, by the way.
Damn it!
Text you beforehand, let her know?
Yeah, I did.
He saw my trap. I have to go and raise the perception DC.
I don't give a single fuck. I know, like,
I was saying, his wife is sitting right next to him.
If my wife was sitting right next to me, it'd be different.
Your wife is at home with your infant son.
Yes. So, like...
You have to go home with her. Remember this.
Now that the internet is done trying to get Ryan in trouble with his wife.
nice.
Well, we're never done.
You're never done.
Right?
New segment.
Let's get it right.
God damn it.
It would be more difficult than you would think. Like, you'd think it'd be real easy.
Challenge
It's not.
accepted.
That's on camera. Adrian can now weigh that again.
Bring on the horse!
You guys realize this is going to end with like Ryan getting a lap dance on a live camera?
And he might still not get in trouble.
That might give her the possibility.
However, the rest of
I'm
us.
assuming the cinema synergy, the person that just posted was your wife. Saying, we can talk about that later.
Well played, Adrian. Well played.
I'm loading it up right now because I want to go down. And I am.
But actually,
He'll live, will die.
yeah, you're correct. We're much more likely the rest of us to be murdered and Ryan to
is true.
survive,
Very
potentially under very extreme restrictions, but still alive. The
Anyway,
rest of us might
I'm
be dead.
sorry, Eli. These are your parents.
I am not sorry. I die with no shame.
Moving.
Eyes wide shut.
Eyes wide shut.
What the fuck were we talking about before all this
forget.
weird shit?
It's a thriller.
It is.
I will defend the fact that it is a thriller. It's a thrilling movie.
It almost feels like a horror film to me, honestly.
Kind of.
Which, just because...
It's a horror thriller, and it's
Thriller is like a subcategory for it.
It's an erotic
Yeah, she
thriller
must.
because like the focus of the movie
Is like not
is
even...
sex.
Yeah.
That's what defines an erotic thriller. If like the focus of if what is on the minds of people is sex, even if it doesn't necessarily show sex, which Eyes Wide Shut obviously shows a bunch of like orgy
Right.
shit in the background.
That is a sweet ass scene. Like, that is really well shot.
Please
You know
do
what I
break it
mean?
down
Like-
for us, please.
Yeah, I mean there's sex, there's masks, there's
Yeah.
boobs.
But like...
What more do you want?
Well, like, when
Okay,
you got
stop
the-
being schizophrenic on here.
An invitation.
That's why I put a
Okay,
note
because
on
we got
mine.
Adrian and Greg posting now. And
I
Great.
put a suffix on mine.
Okay.
So, like,
Like, it's really good. We got Kubrick pulling out all
You
the
do.
stops with his like his general shit, like how he like his
general shit
syrup.
of using his female cast members.
Well, like his fucking like signature framing, where like other people use the rule of thirds. He uses like this like weird like fucking like, crosshair thing where he puts anything that's important in the center of the frame.
But he's Kubrick, so you can get away with it.
It's a Kubrick film when you're looking at it.
Like a few people do it because of Kubrick, though.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Wes Anderson or whatever, he does that shit. Like he frames everything in like a tableau. You know what I mean? And it's like similar to Kubrick. Maybe not exactly the same. But like there's a whole lot of stuff with lighting in this film.
Yes.
That is like super important to like actually like interpreting it. All right, like within the orgy scene, there's like a whole bunch of like intense light coming from spotlights, and there's like a lot of shadow and shit like that because fucking like Tom Cruise is lurking around, but like everything else is just like bam, like in the center, like everything's
question:
fucking.
Did they let Tom Cruise run in this film?
No.
His girly run. His weird
a big part of the movie near the end is that Tom Cruise is followed.
Right.
So like he's kind of like constantly looking over his shoulder and shit.
Yeah.
But he doesn't run. He just continues to walk.
Yeah.
And tries to play cool.
You know what that reminded me of is Fritz Lang's M, where the gangsters are after him, and he has like the M on like on the back of his shoulder for murder, and he's like looking around like over his shit, and like he's like following him around. But
to try to like kind of pull this all together.
Right.
At this point.
Okay.
My biggest problem with all of these movies, all 5 that I watched,
right?
Because I would call all of them, is that I watched them. I burned like 12 hours of my life on these movies. My biggest problem, because I'm like 0 and 5, is my more or less consideration. Essentially, if you were to take away the attempt to like be titillating,
right?
And I use that word purposefully. Like, you would probably have a good amount of movies here. If you were to just try to be more of a storyteller, more of a movie, like, just standard formal movie.
Kind of going back to what you were saying earlier about pick a genre.
Pick a genre.
Either be porn or murder.
Be porn or don't be porn.
Right.
You'd have police procedural adults.
You'd probably have a good. You'd probably have some good stories here.
Jade strikes a good balance. Did anybody watch that?
No.
I don't think
You haven't
anybody
played
did.
Castlevania.
Sorry.
Okay.
Which one?
Jade.
There wasn't enough time.
It's another
I
Joe
had to pick
Lester
some movies I had to lose them.
Right.
Out of all 5 that I watched, I feel all 5 fell flat.
And the final sequence was
Even
this
Romeo's
confrontation
Bleeding, which only
between
technically qualifies as
I
movies.
really like that movie.
It was decent, but at the same time, I feel like I was going into it expecting
And he
more
goes-
sex, unfortunately.
He goes like,
Well, you went into it expecting sex, and it wasn't an
And it
erotic thriller. It
wasn't, so like the whole thing ended up confusing me. So like, if you were to just kind of focus, if you were to put more effort and Basic Instinct into being a more intriguing murder thriller,
Like a cop film.
it would have probably been really good.
Right.
But in the end, it was mediocre. And that was the problem with all of these movies, everything in this genre. It was just mediocre.
Right.
They kind of fell into like the cardinal sin of movies. They were boring.
Right.
In the end, they were just kind of boring.
Yeah.
Like
50 Shades of
They
Grey
were
has
just-
a good story.
Who said that?
who said that?
Wait,
Who's Alicia?
If him,
I actually wanted to ask that though. Is 50 Shades of Grey an erotic thriller?
No.
yes.
Is
I haven't seen
Why?
it.
Yes. Stop! Everyone, shut the fuck up.
Hold on.
First of all, yes. Second of all, the topic was of the 90s. That's the only reason I didn't watch it. Otherwise,
So
I would have.
I've seen it.
We're
But
talking
I mean,
about.
just if this genre is continuing in some way, is that like the
Yes,
We'll
I
give
would
it a
say it
chapter
is
of
the next evolution of it.
If it is continuing, 50
Have you
Shades
seen
of
it?
Grey is the
No.
sign that chemo needs to be applied.
I haven't
Shades
watched
of
50
Grey.
Shades of Grey because I hear it's very insulting to BDSM community.
As far as
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
curious about it,
Good.
it was actually Twilight
Zombie actually
fan fiction.
SNL?
Yes.
Yes,
It was
So the
Twilight fan
fiction,
fiction
the name
first.
swapped
And
out.
about-
I don't consider
Okay.
it a thriller because it's not until the second. If you go to the second one, I'd say maybe thriller. The first one.
Have
is
you actually
entirely a
read all the
sex
books?
movie. No,
Okay.
but I've done a lot of outside research on it.
I
I've gone around it.
I take
Like, I'm
the
not
offense in
reading
this
it.
film because she cures him.
It's
of
awful.
his
I read the
BDSM
first
fetish.
chapter
That
of it,
whole-
and it made me want to vomit.
Yeah,
It's
which
so
that's fucked
fat.
up.
It's
I
so
mean, you want to
much
be in
of
the
the
BDSM
BDSM community
nothing
is
wrong with
guys
that.
who
Yeah,
suck.
whatever. Like that.
Which,
And
whatever.
then-
Like, if that's what you're into,
And
it's
then
what
Above
you're
and
into. There's no
beyond
shame.
that,
I just
he
got
wasn't
turned off from the
crazy
movie because
rich
it's the
and
whole
handsome.
mentality
This
of
is just an episode
if
of
this
Law
guy
and
wasn't
Order.
rich, it would be
Yeah.
under
Yes.
the criminal minds.
So
So, like-
it's a rape fantasy.
Yeah,
is
so,
what
like,
it is.
The
Very
biggest
much
problem
is.
with
There's
erotic
a segment of the
thrillers
population
of the
that
90s
has
movie
that,
is,
but
for the most part, they're
it's
just
still
boring.
one of those like
Yeah.
this
They're
is
not
cool.
good enough to stand on their own,
Right, the plots aren't super engaging.
and they're not
Yeah.
like exciting enough with the nudity and the sex to like really be worth the effort there.
Right.
Well,
Like watching these movies reminded me of being 12. Like
Right.
scanning the premium channels after midnight.
Hey, we got
that's
the-
100% what it reminded
The
me
cable box is scrambled
Right.
tonight.
90s kids can jerk off to anything.
So
Music videos, commercials
Don't
where
be
women are eating
TROD.
burgers.
If you had a will, there was a way.
I feel it.
The
to
J.C.
add
Penney's
with
catalog.
the full expectation of being ridiculed once I feel I need to add. He's not the
I feel bad
boringness
now.
of these police
You should.
procedurals.
We're awesome.
alright.
Really a nod towards reality.
you did it.
I
No.
mean, if you look
No.
at real court cases, they're boring as fuck.
Well, sure. So here's my theory on the 90s erotic
Oh, here it
thriller.
comes.
So
I have to put my glass
I'm gonna
down
bring
now.
it back to this because Greg
I've been
actually
waiting
did hit
for this since
the
8 o'clock.
Greg did hit the nail on the head with his hammer earlier. So you
Hammer
have
is his penis.
Bang your hammer.
you're coming out of the 80s, right?
Right.
Coming out of the 80s, you have two parts. On the one hand, you have like open sexuality, like 80s, like coke parties,
Right.
full on. Okay, sex
Raise
is
the
cool.
sex. Right.
Rainbow
And-
party.
On the other side of things, though, you have like this super, like kid-friendly environment coming out of the 80s, where like you have entire television shows dedicated to selling kids toys. You have just like super kids need to be the focus of everything because kids are the future. Baby boomer generation being super weird about things.
Right.
Kids.
When was the baby boomer generation not weird about that?
So moving into the 90s,
Shut short
as
children of the baby
as
boomers.
you have the film ratings board kind of establishing what can be rated what and what is okay with its ratings, you start to see like, okay, we can have this much nudity, we can have this much sex, we can have this much everything in an R-rated flick,
Right.
and that's going to be okay. So you start to be pushing like the boobs, the Sharon Stone splitting her legs. These are all things that we can have in a movie, and it's an after dark kind of thing, separating adult movies from kid movies. This is something that we should be having going on.
That's actually surprisingly relevant to what Paul Verhoeven's original intention for the film
Right,
was.
exactly. So you have essentially these adult content movies that you aren't necessarily ashamed of having on your movie shelf.
Right.
Like, it's not porn.
You have to turn around backwards so you
Right.
guys can't see.
You don't want porn on your movie shelf because that's super awkward. If you're gonna be hosting a party, if you're gonna be accompanying over, you don't want porn on your movie shelf.
That
But if
depends
I
on
have
the kind of party you're hosting.
But if I have Basic Instinct,
Right.
if I have Body of Evidence, these are just thriller movies. It's okay
With
to have
tits.
these.
They're
It's
And
like
there's
Jason.
tits. Exactly.
And a dong. If
And
we're
a dog.
going, we're going with Color of Night.
So you have essentially like almost adult level entertainment that
Holy
is socially acceptable to just have.
I-
So all of a sudden you see kind of a flash in the pan moment where all of a sudden the genre kind of starts to take off.
Right.
And you have a bunch of like copycats, you have a bunch of imitations, you have a bunch of people consuming this content. Right up until the
new
late
Resident Evil
90s.
movie.
And what did we see
34%
explode in the late
on
90s?
Tomatoes.
The internet.
Metacritic was 50.
Where everybody can just
With the
jerk
internet,
it all
with
the
our
time.
lightning
need to see
fast
it.
56 kbps
Maybe you do.
connections, all of a sudden,
I would have to drag.
all of a sudden,
You can get porn in 10
I
minutes.
can get porn in 10 minutes like that, and I have it on a separate television.
Just one picture.
Yeah. it's
I
fine. But a good
don't-
one.
But a good one.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it being on the movie shelf I don't have to worry about other people seeing it because no one touches someone else's computer without permission. All of a sudden, all of the like boobs of the world I could possibly want are at my fingertips.
Right.
In 2.5 hours.
In 2.5 hours. So you have like this weird, like perfect storm for this movie genre to exist.
Right.
Where coming out of the 80s, there's a demand for it, and going out of the 90s, there's no demand for it because the internet.
And I think the reason why the genre is thriller based is because thriller movies are seen as more. Thank you, Greg.
Thriller.
More like acceptable.
Damn it, Greg.
If you had that sort of
The
movie
funk of
and it was an
40,000.
action film,
Please
you'd be like,
do.
oh, but the thriller, the idea that the thriller,
Right.
the murder mystery is cerebral.
Exactly.
Therefore, it's safe. Yeah, these movies are not cerebral at all. Like I
No,
know that.
not at all.
Now you're
But
sweating.
there's the concept that by being this like dramatic film noir-esque thing, then
Exactly.
that's safe. Oh, I can have the Sharon Stone's vagina in this film
Exactly.
because it's a cerebral thriller. It's not, but that is sort of the gloss that they paint on it to make it acceptable beyond your movie shot.
Everyone did
No, you
cry
can't
over
because
Sharon
if you were to
Stone's
search it, they
vagina.
remove it, you
I
would
totally
die.
Dear internet, your homework for this week is to make hashtag goddammit Greg trending.
I totally like just no idea what he said. Don't repeat it. I zoned out.
So, yeah, like that's my theory on why you have these movies pretty much only existing in the 90s.
Right.
And
There's
you
a
just-
little bleed from the 80s.
There's a little bit of a bleed from
We
the
had, like-
80s, and then the internet just
It's also
killed
a
it.
scheme.
We had
Because-
shit like Jagged Edge.
Because
going
quite
on.
frankly,
Your
why
culture
would
and that
I
stuff.
have my tape of Basic Instinct
Right.
that I have to like kind of get to just the right spot?
When I
Sharon
just go to
Stone's
YouTube
badge.
and have
Well,
Sharon
YouTube
Stone's
wasn't a
badge right
thing,
there.
but I go to like whatever
Right.
website of the 90s.
SharonStonesBadge.com.
Right. I go to Yahoo. I go to Metacrawler. I go to Ask
.angelfire.com.
I go to Angelfire or GeoCities webpage.
Right.
There's your reminder that
And
Angel
porn.
Fire was a thing, ladies and gentlemen.
I
And
remember
it's
the
there.
heck out of
And
Angel
it's a
Fire.
thing.
After GeoCities was the thing.
I don't need to worry about how
GeoCities
long
lasts
pause lasts on my
GeoCities
VCR
is
before it
still in
starts auto
existence.
playing again.
Right.
Flipping between
It's
those
just
two
there.
frames on the pause.
And I feel that's what killed
Between
this
two
genre.
frames.
Is the internet and the ready access of porn. Because, quite frankly, people have always been interested in porn.
Fuck yeah, they have.
Like between like, the 50s, 60s,
Toledo
70s, 80s, 90s,
Bibles.
the general interest has always
Go
been
back to
there.
like
I-
those cave paintings.
I don't feel like you're going to see a changing.
I'm
of
surprised
interest
that there's
between the
not
decades.
sections
It's
of the
always been
Voyou
there.
tapestry that were not.
But the
excised.
availability of
You
it
see, well, Voyou was done.
through the roof starting in the late
Yeah, there's
90s.
probably
And that's when all of a sudden you stop seeing these movies.
Yeah.
So the short version is, good job, internet. Thank you for killing this horrible, horrible genre.
Pretty much.
Oh.
I'm only going to give it one horrible, though. I'm not going
Right.
to give it horrible.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say horrible genre.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a time which
It was an interesting time to be alive.
I hold in my heart, and I
That's
wish
because you were a young man.
Would
not
come
wearing
again.
An older, not yet wearing an older man.
One
it
other
must,
point.
it must be remembered
One other point
forever
about
as a
these
golden
movies.
age.
I definitely went to see Eyes Wide Shut on a date and didn't see most of the movie because it was too sexy and probably made out. Sorry, Jordy. Probably spent the whole date making out because I don't remember this movie, but I know I went
You
with
didn't
someone
miss
on a
much.
date to it. Yeah, I know. But that's my point is that I think a lot of the reason why these
Yeah, I
movies
remember.
were created were for people to bring girls on dates and make out a lot because the movie's too sexy to not make out. Right?
Missed the
I
whole
feel like
part
that's
of
like.
It's gross, but I think that's
Being
part of it.
I absolutely agree.
I don't get the
Yeah.
time to go see that movie in the theaters by
Real
myself or with a
sleazy,
date.
but
But I can see that.
I have to be alone in thinking that if I'm going to a movie, I want to watch the movie. Otherwise, I feel like I'm out.
No, you're not. Like,
$12.
Yeah.
even though I do yell at film, like,
I mean-
if I'm in the theater,
Yeah, I'm not getting
there's
into that.
like some movies when you're
I
a
can
teenager
never ever
and
do
you go to
naughty
see
shit
them.
because I'm excited about the movie,
Right.
even if it's
Yeah.
bad.
No.
Yeah.
That's-
Oh, I'm sitting
I
there in
respect
Mystery
that.
Science Theater every
But-
movie I watch.
If I was a more interesting teenager, I'd probably be on board with you there.
I was
but
a wild child. I went to see a lot of movies
I was
that
not.
were not good for anything but making out to.
I was not, unfortunately. I was a very
You're
boring
watching very
teenager.
different movies. I was
I
watching
know they
Terminator.
were all terrible. All the movies I went to see.
I was a
But
boring teenager.
I think there were a lot of movies like that.
I
in the
watched a lot of
90s,
terrible movies
you know,
that dates as a
especially.
teenager too. I never got to make out to any of them.
Who were you?
Never mind. You're my
Who are
friend.
you
I'd like to
making out with?
continue to count you as my friend.
Was it Rosie Palms?
Yeah.
All 5 of her daughters.
Ah,
Yeah,
think,
but I think that's part of the genre because the 90s
might be
were
right.
maybe the height of that.
I suppose there's a
Like
place
sexy
for
Jordan.
deliberately terrible movies.
The part
you go
that
to
makes
get
it
made
agreeable
to.
is when we were
Alright,
wearing younger
so-
men's clothes.
I think we're good. I think I believe we've kind of covered everything about this genre / subgenre as we can. I think in the business we would say that's a wrap.
and
So
maybe
the
never revisit
session
it.
May we
ideas
never
for the
revisit.
next
Never.
session.
May we never revisit. Thank you for watching with us. It's
Please
been
join
a
us
treat.
in 2 weeks.
2 weeks we will be broadcasting again.
A new topic.
On
If-
YouTube, hopefully.
If you have any ideas for a topic, suggestions, maybe there's a movie, a genre, or an actor you would like to see us talk about,
Comments down below.
feel free to post on our wall, send us a message, do whatever, because we have an actual unified Facebook page now for you to do that on.
Are we
Um,
on
And
Twitter
soon
yet?
a Twitter.
We will soon have a Twitter, we'll have a YouTube, we'll have all these cool social media things to talk about
Maybe
in the
an
future. We'll be sure to post.
But not an imager.
In the Monday before our broadcast, we'll be sure to post what our actual topic will be so you can get prepared with us. It'll be cool. But until then, feel free to drop us a line. Give us suggestions. We appreciate it because we're not that creative. Anyway, have a good night, folks. Thank you for joining us.
Good night.
See you later.
Bye. Bye.